Well, that was another really disappointing one today. I think there was a lot that went wrong all over the pitch. I think there was a lot that went wrong before the game. We'll get on to that. I think Julian Lopetegui made errors today. Before the start of the game with the lineup, I didn't quite agree with the lineup he put out. I don't understand what Cunha's done. Maybe it's because he's still recovering from that injury, but even so, 40 million on a marquee signing, you'd like to see him get some minutes. Nunes, I know he hasn't been great, but in a game where the midfield battle is key, to have that drive through the middle, to have that box to box presence through the middle, would have been helpful earlier on. I think João Moutinho had a very good game, by the way. All things considered, I think it was a shame that he got taken off later in the second half for Collins, which we'll come on to. But overall, it was a poor game. I think that neither team were particularly impressive, but what we did do, we gave them way too much respect, especially in the first half. We couldn't get going at all, struggled to fashion any openings. The game really changed on the penalty decision. I stand by it. I still think it was a penalty. I think it was a red card as well. There wasn't a huge amount of contact, but Jimenez has no reason to go down in that situation, apart from if he'd been taken down by Pope, and that's what I believe what's happened. So how it hasn't been taken to VAR, and they've been told to they're stuck with the on-field decision, even though Andy Madley was 50 yards away. I don't understand it, but once again we've been kind of done in that sense, and that was the momentum shift that Newcastle kind of latched onto. I think we got pummeled for the next 20-25 minutes straight. Around the 35th, 40th minute mark, we were hanging on by a thread. Balls hitting the bar, balls off the line. Half-time couldn't come soon enough, and I think half-time could have been the opportunity for us to turn it around, make some intelligent substitutions, and I think they came a little bit too late. We saw I can't remember who came on at half-time now. Neto came on at half-time, didn't he? He looked okay. He's still recovering. He's still kind of coming back to full fitness, so I'm not going to hold him to the same expectation as others. But yeah, we had a decent spell in the second half. Newcastle were happy to sit on their 1-0 lead and see what we could come up with, probably because they knew we'd struggle to score, which we know all too well. But we did score. Doesn't matter how they come. Hee-chan was able to tap into an open net after Trippier slipped in his own area. But that was when it all went wrong for us, because we had the opportunity to really, tread on the throat of Newcastle at a time where, they'd sat up on a 1-0 lead. We had our chance to make it 2-1, and Lopetegui decides that Collins to come on for Moutinho would be a good idea because it worked at Spurs last week. Why have we done that? Because what's happened there is we've taken out Moutinho, we've lost the midfield battle almost immediately, and we've kind of lost a man higher up the pitch. So that we're just inviting pressure. We're sitting. He's clearly been scared by the threat of the set piece that Newcastle had, because they were very, very threatening with them. But it's 1-1 at that point. We could have gone for the win quite easily, and instead we've sat back. And we've been caught out again with some awful defending for the Almiron goal. I'll need to watch it back to see what's really happened, but from first glance it was shocking. There were players all over the place. But yeah, it was just a real mess today. I think no one really impressed at all. No one impressed. I think the first time, today was the first time I could comfortably say Neves had a bad game, and that's really saying something. So, no, a real shame. Next two games are must-wins. 6 points from the next two, and I'll feel a bit more comfortable, but we've been dragged right back into it. Yeah, so big shame, but on to the next one. Cheers, lads.
All right, full time, we've lost 2-1. I think everyone else is going to say stuff about the contentious penalty decision. That should be a red card and an opportunity for us to go 1-0 up. But I'll leave that to them. For me, the starting lineup is not at all what I wanted to see. I don't know where Sarabia is. If that's a tactical decision to leave him out, it's the wrong decision for me. Adama starting is great. I thought he would give Dan Burn some trouble, and he did. So take him off at half-time for Pedro Neto, who, yeah, he tried, but I still don't think is 100% ready and fit yet to start. I think is a terrible decision. Pedent staying on the pitch as well when he was doing his fancy flicks and losing the ball on breakaways. Yeah, it's the wrong decision for me as well. I get why he's taken Neves off, but we had a game to win. I think Neves has the discipline to not get a yellow card for the important match next week against Leeds. And when he came off, especially with Lamina, who had a below-par performance this evening, yeah, we were always going to struggle in midfield. So as soon as he came off and replaced with Nunes, who didn't really offer anything when he came on, and he can't pass wind. So, yeah, we struggled a lot, especially when we went to the back five, because you have a midfield then that can't really pass the ball and is struggling. And then when they press us, we have centre-backs that panic on the ball, like Collins and Kilman. Craig Dawson was great, did everything that was asked of him today, but unfortunately, yeah, for me, bringing René Nori on and changing to a back five lost us the game today. So unfortunately, that's on Lopetegui's head tonight. And he's won us a lot of games with his changes, but unfortunately, today he's lost us the game. So it's a shame because I felt like we had some opportunities to kick on after the equaliser, which was lucky from Huang, who also didn't do anything after the goal anyway, because change to a back five, you completely eliminate any sort of service to the front men. So for me, that was the wrong decision tonight, and unfortunately Lopetegui's lost us the game as much as he has won us other games, and that's just sometimes the way it is. But Leeds Leeds next week is a really important fixture now. It feels like every game is a cup final, as they say, but sometimes we don't play like they actually mean that. So yeah, I'm still pretty confident that we'll avoid the drop. There are a lot worse teams than us in the division. One more point from me is that I don't know how Mateus Cunha's not got on the pitch tonight, because you spend 40 million on a marquee signing. You're told he's going to solve your goal scoring issues, and then he's not a real number 9. That's fine. We'll play him as a number 10. Okay, well, tonight was the perfect opportunity for him to come on and then complement Raul when they linked up really well last week at Molineux at Spurs when he came on. So for me, I don't understand why we've gone to a back five and we're chasing the game and we're on top of things. For me, I don't know. I don't get it. Either way, it's an opportunity to go again next week, isn't it? So let's hope we can get a result there.
It's finished Wolves 1, Newcastle 2. Poor game today. Everywhere on the pitch, I think, from the defence all the way up to some of the attackers, and especially in midfield. I thought we were poor today. The game started off brightly. We got forward a couple of times and they replied with the same. They got forward a couple of times and we managed to create a chance out of nothing from a back pass from the goalkeeper. And Raul's nicked it off the goalie and he's been assaulted. And fell to the floor, and the referee nor the linesman nor the literal replays that they have now called VAR wanted to intervene and say that it's a blatant penalty and a sending off. From that moment, you knew what kind of game it was going to be. It's almost like we'd kind of lost our heads at that point. Passes going here, there and everywhere. First touches were really poor. No real link-up play between anyone really. And they get their goal and we're clinging on till half-time. We managed to go in at 1-0. And you think, okay, give your heads a bit of a wobble. Come out second half and put in a better second half. And we didn't. It was the same again. You know what type of game it's going to be when you come out of second half and your first pass is going out for a throw-in. I thought some individuals today were really, really poor. and some individuals who usually are shit hot. I thought Dawson got torn apart a little bit today, and I didn't think I'd ever say that really. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. He defended well from set pieces. He wins everything in the air, but one-on-one today, with Isak especially, he really struggled. Podence, he's so frustrating as a footballer to watch. Like, his passing is poor, he's got no real pace or drive to take anybody on. And then we get our goal, albeit it's very lucky. You think, okay, fair enough. We were on top at the point of we scored the goal. Let's push on and try and get the winner. And he changes it to a 5, which I can see why, because he wanted to see out the game. But I don't think we're good enough to see out the game, especially defensively, and the wrong personnel was on the pitch at the time to see out the game. So that was the problem that we had, and then lo and behold, Neri gets caught up the field. They get the ball through to Almiron, and it's 2-1, and at that point it's game over. But from the start today, the lineup was completely the wrong lineup today, and just nothing really worked for us. It's not a game that was a must-win, but it now makes these next 2 a must-win. So we move on to Leeds next Saturday at the Molineux. Really need a good performance and 3 points for that next week. But cheers for having me on, boys.
Newcastle 2, Wolves 1 at St James's Park today. Well done, Andy Madley. You got what you wanted in the end. Wolves cheated at St James's Park today, and even Newcastle fans would agree with that. So that's when you know how much of a clanger the referee has dropped between himself and Tony Harrington on the VAR. Wolves have been shafted in the Premier League yet again, but this time, unlike the time at Southampton when Jared Gilley sent off Mario Lemina for looking at him the wrong way, we couldn't come back to win the game today. Raul Jimenez clearly fouled by Nick Pope in the box. It's a penalty at the very least, and probably a red card as well. It's an absolute joke. The standard of officials in this country is sickening. It has always been the case that it favours the teams in the ascendancy and with the money. And what are Newcastle now? The media darlings. What have they got? Money. It's obvious. It's clear as day. And I don't care if other opposition fans agree or disagree with it. It's an absolute disgrace. And how that wasn't given as a penalty is beyond me. Last season, Chris Wood got a penalty against us for Jose Sa in that exact fixture for doing probably maybe about the same contact. But of course, they got the penalty, and Sa wasn't the last man back today. Pope clearly fouls Raul as soon as he wins a ball back, who might I add should, and I mean really should have gone mad at the referee to give him a penalty. I don't know why he just sat there not doing anything. If you plant the seed of doubt in the official's mind, surely he then asks the VAR. Honestly, it was embarrassing from the officials today. And Jimenez fouling. Shaw for the free kick, I think it was, which Newcastle ultimately scored their first goal from. Come on, he gets the ball. It's nothing short of a disgrace every week. We had it at Southampton. We had it at Liverpool in the FA Cup. Massive decisions. They can alter the course of a team's season. Wolves would be in the relegation zone now if we hadn't beaten 10 men away at Southampton after Jared Gilley sent Mario Lemina off. We're only 3 points ahead of the relegation zone today. If we got 1-0 up against 10 men, probably, who knows if they're given a penalty, whether we would have sent him off, you would have backed Wolves to at least come out of there with a point, let's be real here. But absolutely robbed again by the officials in the Premier League. Ever since Nuno called out Lee Mason for his bad officiating, I think it's 3 years ago at Burnley, we have got absolutely nothing in the Premier League. It's funny that, isn't it? About the game, because I don't want to talk about those bastards anymore. Wolves were okay, weren't they? I don't know if you could really argue with the result and the fact that they lost, but it's just the way that they lost and how they were treated in the first half by the referee at that penalty not being given. Newcastle took the lead from a free kick, which I just mentioned before. very soft, but the defending's poor. Isak heads it in 1-0, and they have about 15 minutes where they absolutely dominate us and should have gone 2 or 3-0 up, but they didn't. Wolves kept themselves in the game. Podence, the shot that hit the post, might I add. Why did Adama come off at half-time for Neto and not Daniel Podence? I found that very strange. There was a break on in the second half. Podence had 2 men available, Jimenez to the left and I think it was Neto to the right, and he just ran straight into a defender. He wasn't good today. Ruben Neves, poor as well. Nunes came on, did very little. Hwang came on and scored an equaliser in the second half, set up by Kieran Trippier. It was a very lucky break that Wolves badly needed, and they got it. And then Lopetegui decided to, I think, press the self-destruct button. I think that is the fairest way you could assess his substitution. Why? It was so negative. It was so negative. And it worked last week, but last week we were getting absolutely peppered by Tottenham in the first half. This week, he takes off Moutinho and brings on Collins, goes to a 5, and then the wing-backs were all over the place. Newcastle were getting in down the wings, and it went horribly when we brought on the 5, and then we had no attacking threat. Mateus Cunha, the £40 million signing, he's sitting on the bench while Collins went and played up front towards the end. It's like, come on. It was really poor decision to go to a back 5. He did that at the wrong time. If he wanted to start with a 5 today, absolutely, probably should have done. And I want to see Nathan Collins play instead of Craig Dawson against Leeds, because he was absolutely destroyed by Isak today. Absolutely destroyed by him. All ends up. Now, Isak is a good, quick player, but Dawson, apart from heading out a few set pieces, which he did well, and that's what he's designed to do, really, in that centre-back position for Wolves, was absolutely ripped apart by the pace of Isak. And against Leeds next week, you got the fast players like Tonto, Harrison, Rodrigo, Reuter, they will rip Dawson to pieces. So I want to see Collins play in that match. But I was not happy to see Collins coming on today, because you've just scored and you gave the momentum straight back to Newcastle. And then the winning goal deflection, it's a decent move, but where was Aït-Nouri? And it's just, it's one of them things. Wolves only 3 points above the relegation zone. Now, that's a bit sickening, isn't it, given we won last week? And it just shows how tight it is down there. 3 of 9 teams will be going down. That is the story of it. And you can't really say that one is a definite at this stage, of Southampton picking up a point today. And Bournemouth winning yesterday. What was that, Liverpool? Come on. But you have to rely on yourselves now. And next week is, once again, the biggest game of the season against Leeds. We're going to try and bounce back, but we all remember what happened at home to Leeds last year. There's another one. Kevin Friend cheated again in that one. Lost 2-3. That signalled really the downturn in our form under Bruno Lage. Hopefully we can overcome today's disappointing defeat, in which we played okay, not great. I'm not sure we deserved anything from it, but that's distracting from the point that we were cheated in the first half. Every pundit, Jamie Carragher, Martin Tyler, Jamie Redknapp, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Alan Shearer even on Twitter said there was a penalty, but Andy Madley and Tony Harrington didn't. It's funny that. It is really funny that. And Newcastle fans may say, well, at least we've got one going our way. When have Wolves ever had one go their way? Never. Massive game next week now, but a poor defeat today. And after the results this weekend, Wolves are still finding themselves bang in trouble. Newcastle 2, Wolves 1.